Yes, what an absolute hero we've got today. Top player, won the lot. A trophy that I've wanted to win all my life. The Intertotal Cup. It's Damien Duff. How are you doing, mate?
How's it going, Simon? You alright? Keeping well?
Yes, I'm very good. Thanks very much for coming on.
No bother. It gets me out of the house anyway. I've been stuck in it for 3-4 months, so I do happen to get out, even speak to you, so it's no problem.
And what is that? Is that the West Wing you're in?
No, it's my mate's pub. The Wi-Fi, I live up in the hills of Ireland and Wi-Fi ain't great, so I just thought I'd make an effort for you, so I've come down to the boozer.
What a man, what a man. See, just on the Intertotal Cup, I've always wondered, like, how do you celebrate winning the Intertotal Cup? Does Roy Hodgson share out a bag of Wells Originals?
I didn't realise I won it. That shows how big it is. Did I win it?
You won it, mate.
Oh, did I? I'm not sure if I even got a medal for that. Yeah, maybe with Newcastle as well. I don't know. I didn't realise I played in it. I think that was maybe obviously the Fulham year, was it? Where it took us about 40 or 50 games to actually get to the Europa League final. So I'm not even sure if the Intertotal is still running.
Right, listen, mate, I've done my research on you, right? And
Yeah.
a few of the staff at Celtic who will remain nameless have said for your Intertotal Cup win, your English Premier League win, they cannot believe how many games of tech ball you lost.
That's obviously one of the staff. And for the players as well, to be fair, I was number one seed at the club, which is a bit embarrassing for the players. So if you know Ryan Christie, you should speak to him. Mikey Johnson.
That's who I spoke to.
Ryan Christie.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was called Whoopee Cushion Head because he made a crazy noise when he went to head the ball. It looked as if it was going to be a really hard header, but it didn't have any power. But yeah, I was number one seed, embarrassing enough for the players. And John Kennedy and Woodsy would always play me and the gaffer, and me and the gaffer would always kick their arses as well. So I was number one seed in doubles and singles.
Yeah, I was going to say, but like Lennon must have found tech ball hard because you kind of pass sideways and backwards. So how did he cope?
Gaffer was very, very good. Even, I'd get the giggles and start losing the run of myself and what have you, but he'd always give me the death stare just to get me to refocus. But we'd spend a couple of hours in there most afternoons by the end of the season. So absolutely amazing fun. It's probably disappointing for Celtic fans. You think we're up watching videos and talking tactics, but we're actually on the tech ball table. So yeah.
Mate, I had that death stare for about 5 years when I was a kid. Every day for like 2 hours a day, he would just death stare me, man. Hated us.
Yeah, well, he hasn't lost that power, but he was. Well, I'm not surprised. You sound surprised, but he's actually very, very good at tech ball.
Yeah, he's a good player.
In between spitting his snooze out on the floor.
As I say, mate, I've dug deep for you. I even know what kind of slips you were underneath your training gear.
Hugo Boss.
Yes, love that. What a guy, man.
Well, it sounds a bit snobbish, but yeah, I'm not into the communal ones where you're probably wearing maybe the ones that Gaffer wore yesterday. So I'll give that a miss. I'd rather have my own ones.
Brilliant, mate. Right, on to the career. What was a football bringing like in Ireland? Was it boys' club? Irish boys get so many trials. Like, where else did you go other than Blackburn?
Just Huddersfield. Nowhere else big. I actually loved Huddersfield. I nearly signed for them, I guess. I think they were in the old second division. And a bit random how I ended up there. But I remember probably the sticking point or where I decided to change my mind was when I met Neil Warnock. He was manager at the time. And if tough Yorkshire man, I don't know, I think he's from there. It kind of wasn't for me. But listen, Blackburn was the most exciting place in England. They were just recently crowned champions. Kenny Dalglish was there. So in the end, it was a no-brainer. But yeah, in Ireland, obviously a lot of Irish boys go over every year. So out of 100, I'd say maybe one makes it every couple of years. So I was very, very lucky. I know that. But yeah, just a boys' club back home. Nothing special. No special upbringing. I guess I learned all my tools and my trade on the street because nowadays you have kids training 4 or 5 days a week, but I trained once a week in a shitty pitch, and the floodlights would probably be from the cars. So people think you need to train at fancy complexes and stuff like that, but I just honed my trade on the street. I was out there every day for 3-4 hours, so it was very, very simple upbringing.
300%, mate. I wanted to ask you this because I came to watch Celtic play Hearts when Dembele came on. And I seen you speaking to him after the game and saying to him he should have took his man on more. I watch young kids now, mate, and wingers are more interested in keeping possession than going and taking people on. See, when you were younger, was that the mindset, getting my full back every time I had the ball?
Yeah, you're just fearless, I guess. And like Caddy, he'd be one of them. He's learned his trade on the street. Like you can see that the way he manipulates the ball and just how comfortable he is with football at his feet. It's the other side of the game with Caddy, probably getting him to run back and work hard. And that's probably the toughest bit with him. But yeah, I remember the game. I think it was footage. It was a bit embarrassing. It probably looked like I was doing it for the cameras, but it was only when I turned around and I think, oh, fuck, the camera, recording that conversation. But I would have been hard on Caddy and all the young boys. Yeah, it's great having ability, but you always need to work harder for me.
See, was it the Milk Cup you got picked up? And is it true that the Milk Cup is named after Lenny's skin tone?
Yeah, we were in Dubai recently. I think Gaffer was wearing factor $1 million probably. The Milk Cup, I'm not sure why it was called that. No, I actually went to Milk Cup with Blackburn.
Right.
But no, listen, in Dublin, like there's a lot of Irish kids that have had great careers over in the UK and Scotland and what have you. So I was just spotted here because the scouts here literally all the time watching games. So I was just spotted here and I went over a couple of times. And like I said, just going over and meeting Kenny, meeting Shearer, and they're going for the league title. Like it was an incredible place. Changed Kenny now, I must say.
How was Kenny Dalglish? Did he ever come over to Ireland to meet your family? Did
he come over? He'd be over because he always had that Irish connection anyway. But I remember him picking us up, myself, my mum, my dad, just before the training ground got built, and he brings us down in his big fancy Merc and gets the plans out and everything. And you think, what the hell is this for real here? So he made a real effort with me, like he did with all the young kids. He'd even come in and join in. And I'm not sure what age he was then, 40, 50. He mightn't be happy with me for calling 50, but just frightening, just charm, charisma. Just when he walked into a room would just blow you away. Like, and what he did with Blackburn, yeah, he obviously had Jack Walker's money at the time, but to win a league was just incredible what he did with that club.
Somebody told me that you've got the same amount of money as Jack Walker now. Is that true?
I wouldn't be far off, to be fair. I'm not a big spender. I can't say working at Celtic topped it up. So it was probably, I earned it all before Celtic. Listen, I've done all right, but I never, looked at a move or anything to earn money or what have you. By chance, I absolutely adored football, and just by chance, if you're any good at football, you seem to earn a bit of money. So, I wasn't motivated by that. I just absolutely adored the football. That's all.
Now, I know a few young boys who go to Blackburn to tell you about the setup. So the digs are on the training ground. Does that stop you from getting a social life because the coaches can watch what you're doing?
Well, the coaches didn't even live on the training ground, Simon. So it was an old mental home. So we lived up in the hills at Blackburn, and you'd leave the training ground. This may sound bizarre to some or a bit of a sad life, but we'd leave the training ground once a week. To go to college on a Wednesday, I think, and you'd go to college for a couple of days or hours, and then back to the training ground. The only other time you'd leave it if there was an away game, so that was once every fortnight. But listen, I wouldn't change it for the world. I was probably too much of an anorak of football, but even when training was over, you do doubles and you do all your jobs, cleaning up the whole place and what have you. Like, I go back out in the pitch, but I think it's changed now. They want the lads to get away from football, whereas it couldn't have been better for me for a while anyway. I was well suited to a mental home. I think after a year I did have a bit of a meltdown and I wanted to get out of there, but it was two kind of haunted houses on top of a hill just overlooking the pitches, but it was incredible.
Just getting into the first team, what an intimidating dressing room to go into, as you said, Sutton, Colin Hendry, Tim Sherwood, Lasso. How was that for a wee quiet guy for Ireland? Did they abuse you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're abused the whole way through. Like when I think back, the stuff that was done to us, like you'd get the sack or go to jail now. Like the first week I was there, the young Irish boy I went over with, it was his birthday, so it was, I don't know, August, September, and he was thrown in the back of a car with his underpants on, blindfolded, a pair of runners, and I was made to get in the car with him just to, I guess, look at it, and he was dropped about 3-4 k's away, just up in the hill, blindfold off, and make your own way home, and just stuff like that. If you didn't do your jobs right or anything, you'd be stripped naked, polished head to toe, made to run around the training ground. I'm sure you've seen it back in the day, but
yeah.
And I wouldn't change it. It's character building, I'd call it. But fucking, if you did it now, you'd go to jail. Some of the stuff that happened to us. But yeah, like when I got into the first team squads, yeah, they were horrible to me, but in a nice way. They knew what they were doing. You know, I was still doing my jobs then. So like the likes of Sutty, muller me all the time. I actually was on first team dressing room duty. So like he'd leave, instead of going to shit in the toilet, he'd just leave a shit in a bag in the middle of the floor. Like, so I'd be picking up his shit in plastic bags. I cleaned Tim Sherwood's boots. So yeah, I'm lining out with him on a Saturday, but you know, during the week I was scrubbing his boots all week, and every morning I just hearing his Cockney accent, Daffa, you can't, because I didn't do a good job, I guess. One night I left him in the sauna, which didn't go down too well with him. So yeah, it was, like I said, character building, but some of the stuff I said you wouldn't get away with now.
Amazing. The two wingers, I think, was it Wilcox and Ripley? Like, they sound like a couple of serial killers, but did they take you under their wing?
Stuart somewhat, but maybe not Jason as much. I guess I was a bit of a threat then to him. I was 17, 18, and I was looking to take his place. But listen, they were fucking amazing, and they'd just come off the back of a league title 2 years beforehand. So I just kept the head down and just keep working hard. But like I said, they were probably hard on me, more horrible than nice to me. Even Billy McKinley, you probably know him well up there in Scotland.
Ruthless, like, mate. Ruthless.
Yeah, he was a horrible, horrible lad. Ended up coaching me at Fulham. Hadn't really changed much, but like I said, I wouldn't change it for the world. It was just an amazing time.
Would you ever give them a bit back, or was there ever a time that you thought, like, this is too much?
No, like, you were well, I guess, drilled not to answer people back. Like, even when you were a first year, so down in the UK, I'm sure it was up the same in Scotland. There was first year and second year apprentices. So if the first year even answered the second year back, like you were going to court. And what I mean is, I'm not sure whether you did court cases, like there's 20, 30 people in the room and you're up for, you know, whether you're guilty or innocent. You're more often than not found guilty just for answering someone back, even politely. And like I said, you could find yourself in a bath, getting an ice bath with cups of piss thrown on you, and that and like that. So did I answer people back? Absolutely not. I went under the radar for 2-3 years.
So how, see, what, you're that quiet guy. What is it when it comes to football that changes when you get on the pitch? See, when you went and trained with the first team, did you just take it straight away?
Yeah, it's just where I guess I felt most comfortable. Like that's all I did. Like,
did you know you were a top player?
Maybe in the back of my mind, but I was never had that front or that arrogance or ego. But maybe I knew I was, I guess, going to make it. Like, I remember going to leave for England when I was 16, and it was 5 o'clock in the morning, and I guess leaving home, I'm emigrating. My mum said to me, we're all obviously crying at the door, and she's saying, you know, son, you can come back anytime you want. And, you know, I wasn't full of myself, right? And I just said, nah, don't worry, I won't be back. So I must have known somewhere deep down that, yeah, it was going to work out. I don't know how, but it did.
And that was under Roy Hodgson, mate, 96, 97. How was Roy Hodgson as a manager? Obviously so successful, and what a career he's had. Yeah,
he was amazing. Like, I loved the way he gave me my first proper season run in the team, and even he brought me back to Fulham in later years, and people always said I was his son of.
Probably grandson, mate. More grandson doing it.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, listen, amazing coach, actually, absolute gent, and like to see him in the Premier League now, still getting Palace bopping and keeping them up every year in, year out. Listen, I love Roy. Absolutely adore him.
He seems quite dour though, Roy. Can you get a laugh on?
Oh, he's hilarious in his own way, and you might think he's this, you know, respectful gentleman. I've had some bollockings in my time, but if you see Roy go mad, it's a scary one.
What's the worst you've seen him go?
Well, I obviously only had the year with him at Fulham, which is more recent than back in Blackburn, but like, fucking anything and everything, every name under the sun. You wouldn't think he has a curse in his locker. Well, he does, kicking things. Mentler, absolute mentler. But amazing coach, amazing man.
Jack Walker era relegation under Brian Kidd, 99. What was the dramatic fall down to?
I don't know. Kiddo, listen, amazing guy, absolutely frightening coach, brilliant, but probably admit himself he wasn't a manager. I remember that year we probably spent an awful lot of money, probably too much. There was a lot of quality, maybe not so much quality, but a lot of money was spent that year, and we were just on the slippery slope, and he couldn't turn it around. Nobody could. So, yeah, it was obviously disappointing to go down. One of my three. I have a hat trick of relegations. Not sure whether you've done your homework on that, but yeah, for a kid, I was heartbroken. Out of the three, that was the one that hit me bad, I'd say.
How was he a top man, Brian Kidd?
Oh, legends, and like I said, frightening coach, but like I said, I don't think he got another managerial job after that. But the session's brilliant, amazing, and what have you. Great man, but probably wasn't cut out for management.
Mate, what a job he's got now, though. 8th choice coach at Man City, amazing.
He's probably on 3 million a year for it, though, so I'd do it. I'm sure you would as well.
Of course I would. See that, because you got relegated, did that benefit you perhaps? Because obviously down the division you played a lot more games, became a key member of the team.
I don't think I was playing every week anyway. So I don't think. Listen, the championship, you've played in it, I think, haven't you? It's a tough out league, and it's not a lot of football played. So if you ask me now, I still would have rather spent the 2 years in the Premier League. Probably the only thing affected, I'm not sure, it was a long time ago. I'm sure I probably got a pay cut for the 2 years, but like I said, I'm not arsed about money. Now, like, did it benefit my career? I don't think so. I would have rather been in the Premier League, and I think I probably would have improved more playing up there against better players and not getting kicked the fuck every week.
Can you remember one in particular that would boot you? It was Kevin Muscat playing then.
Ah, disgusting, man. Kevin Muscat, Danny Mills. Yeah, like the good fullbacks that you played against were often Irish. There's something with right backs in Ireland. We've just a lot have come out here. Dennis Irwin through the years, Seamus Coleman, Gary Kelly, Stephen Carr. So they were always tough, and you were in a game and quality on the ball, and you chased them up and down. Whereas Danny Mills, Kevin Muscat, and I think it was a Tarico off Spurs. Yeah. You know, you're talking leg breaking stuff here. I think Muscat Rangers as well, was he?
He was Rangers, Australian Rangers.
Yeah, say no more.
Right, mate. Talking to a guy who kicks people, Graeme Souness comes in 2000. What's your first thoughts when you hear Graeme Souness getting the job?
I thought I probably would have been out the door. There was always, stories of at Liverpool he got rid of all the paddies, the Irish or the Catholics. So either way, I was fucked because I was both. But he was great with me. I remember the first couple of weeks. He was like, I don't see what the story is. He got rid of the certain players at Liverpool because they were getting old and didn't fit into his plans. It was nothing to do with being Irish or Catholic. And at Blackburn, he was, like I said, he wanted me to play. I think he said he married a Catholic. I'm not sure whether that was the second or third wife.
True. Yeah.
I don't know how many wives he's had, but either number 2 or number 3 was a Catholic. And listen, he was great with me. He just came in and simplified everything after Brian. Training was maybe a bit of shape, a 5-a-side, but obviously high intensity and standards. And listen, Gaffer, I always call him the ex-manager's Gaffer. Like, he had such charisma, like it was a joke. I loved him, and I said he did great for me and got Blackburn back up in the league.
Would he get a joke? Would he get a laugh at you with the Celtic and Rangers thing?
Listen, he'd give a bit of banter, but yeah, it was probably nearer, I guess, when we did play in the Europa League, or was it the old UEFA Cup?
Yeah.
But otherwise, listen, Gaffer was a bit of crack. I really liked him.
Barry Ferguson told us a story about him smashing Dwight York in training because he never liked him. Did you see any examples of that?
Yeah, well, I thought it was Coley he smashed, so it might have been Coley another day. Yeah, it was Coley when I was there, so I obviously didn't play with Barry. So yeah, listen, Graeme, the Gaffer, would like people just to empty the tank, I guess, every day, just work hard like he did at Liverpool as a player. And Coley and Yorkie are, as you can imagine, they're at the latter end of the years and maybe come in the odd day and they were a bit off or maybe hung over Yorkie, I don't know. But that would rub him up the wrong way. So I think he upended Coley one day as well, maybe, or just give him verbals. But he used to join in. the gap, and absolutely frightening. Again, I'm not sure what age he was, 40, 50. He's had a triple bypass, but he always used to fill in at right back in the little 7-8 sides, and the quality in his picture and idea of the game was absolutely frightening. Similar to Kenny, it was the exact same. You could just see why they were world class.
Wait, if he was playing right back to and you were left wing, would you be 1v1 against Graeme Souness?
Yeah, but he obviously picked the teams, and I was a young buck at the time, so he was always clever. I never seemed to play against him. I was always with him.
See, just on York, how much a character is York? Is he funny?
Yeah, just so relaxed, and yeah, he's a funny guy, and like the night out and a few women, I guess, here and there. So
don't we all, young man? Don't we all?
Aye?
Don't we all like that, young man?
Yes, yeah. But listen, even just for me as a winger and getting to play with the two of them and their movement up front, and again, Dean Saunders, again, at the same time coming in and speaking to me about what kind of service they want, they tell me. So it was, I guess, from a football point of view, it was amazing learning as well. I might have to do a bit of the running at times, but listen, I don't mind doing that when I'm kind of learning the attacking side and what they want from me.
Brilliant. Promoted in 2001 and you won the League Cup. First year back v Spurs. Was the club ambition when they got in the Premier League to go and challenge again?
No, I don't think that was going to happen. I said the money they spent pre-winning the Premier League, share, I think it was 3.3 or something like that. But back then that was massive. I think it was a British transfer record. But we weren't going to break transfer records again. So it was just, I guess, to get into the Premier League and hold our own, which we did for a couple of years. I think we come 6, 7, 8 maybe. And then cup competitions were a bonus. So Blackburn were never then. And from looking at them now, are never going to challenge again, which is a sad thing.
Yeah. Is that true? Mark Hughes played that season?
I think Sparky did 2 seasons maybe with us.
Is he amazing?
Yeah, like, you wouldn't really get to know Sparky. He just keeps himself to himself. Maybe you hear him say 3 things a week, and they would always be 3 witty, dry lines that were rather funny. Otherwise, he wouldn't speak. Horrific trainer. Out of the probably hundreds or thousands I've trained with, he'd be in my top 3 for being shit in training. But then would come alive, I guess, on a Saturday. He still, even at 39-40, had the overhead kick. Mark Hughes, when I was a kid, I remember him always being unbelievable at overhead kicks. And I remember he did it one day when he was 39, which blew me away. Otherwise, he wasn't very mobile, but listen, he could read the game. I think that Spurs Cup final he played centre midfield. Yeah, I could be wrong, but I'm nearly sure he did. So
Mark Hughes played centre midfield?
Yeah, go check it.
Wow. Mate, he's got the best ball in the world, hasn't he?
Oh, ridiculous. And listen, it just shows his picture of the game that he was able to play in the cup final against Spurs and play centre mid,
Yeah, that's some unreal players that you've played at Blackburn. Like, who, if you had to pick one that stands out as the best at your time at Blackburn, who would it be?
Listen, they were coming to the tail end of their career, so I can't say it was a pleasure training with Yorkie, Coley and Sparky some days, looking didn't move. I don't know, I remember Two-Guy, Turkish player. But again,
Two-Guy, mate. Two-Guy, what
but there's always a but, like that's with the ball. Without the ball, that was a man down. Probably, and I don't think fans would never seen a lot of him because of an accident he had, was Matt Jansen. He was on the verge of getting into the England squad for 2002. Unfortunately, he didn't make it. And went away to Rome on his honeymoon, got knocked off a moped. I think he was in a coma for a couple of days. But amazing guy, amazing player, like the best feet possibly I've ever seen. But his career obviously tumbled after what happened in that summer. But for ability-wise, he wouldn't have been far off.
Mate, his left foot was caviar, wasn't
it? Yeah, it was sexy, all right. And he just had this chop, a bit like the Van Persie chop, where you think he's going to shoot and just chops back inside. It was silky. Nice.
Amazing. Right, the draw gets made for the UEFA Cup, mate. What are you thinking when Celtic come out?
Because I think it was Celtic or Liverpool was in the round before, and I remember Gaffer was always saying, we'll get one of these two. We'll get one. He used to call me Dame. Everyone calls me Duffer, but he used to call me Dame. So he was, obviously fucking buzzing. He wanted either one of them. And I was just excited to go play at Celtic Park from my point of view. And most young Irish boys' dream, the Catholic ones probably, is they all want to play at Celtic Park, whether it be once in their career or as a player, you know. So I was buzzing for it.
Did you grow up a Celtic fan?
Everyone, like I said, you have probably two teams. You have a Premier League team, and Celtic. Like Celtic's a bit like Ireland here. It's just you just support them. You have no choice. So Celtic, Ireland, and I was Man U. That was my other team.
Would you ever get across? Would you ever get across to Celtic Park as a kid?
No, I'd never been. So, like any trips with schoolboy teams, and all would always be Old Trafford, Anfield, like that. But I remember having all the jerseys, and I don't even know whether he was any good or not. But I just loved his name. I used to love Jackie Jakanowski. You might tell me he was shit. I don't know. But it didn't. He was shit. Well, I thought he was a legend. I just thought his name was cool, man. But I didn't see him play because it didn't show Scottish football really on Irish TV. So that's disappointing that he was crap. Oh well.
See, Souness, like you said, you could get fired up, but was he especially fired up the week leading up to that game?
No, I think he had to kind of push his buttons to get him fired up. I know I think he may have said a couple of things in the media and what have you, but no, Gaffer would only get, lose the plot if we let him down in some way. So no, I think he was just generally excited and fancied us to go and beat the eventual finalists of the tournament, I guess, which, listen, it wasn't meant to be for us to do it, but no, I think he was just excited.
And what was your experience like at Celtic Park? Atmosphere, game, what do you remember?
I think we lost 1-0, maybe Larsson scored. I'd been out for, I remember, 4-6 weeks before with hamstring, so I just made the game. So it was a bonus, I guess, to play. I remember, again, Celtic fans might tell me different. I think we battered them on the night. I remember playing really well myself. Felt brilliant. I think Celtic. I think you played 3 at the back, didn't you? And Didier Agate or something was right wing back who had pace, but I remember ripping them to shreds a couple of times. But we lost 1-0, but still fancied our chances back at Ewood Park, which that didn't work out. But Celtic Park, I think we were the better team.
Well, see, when you heard Souness say it was like men v boys, with the players in the dressing room thinking you shouldn't have said
that? We probably wouldn't bother much with that stuff, but I'd say it probably rubbed Neil Lennon, the gaffer, up back then, and like they were proper men in that dressing room. The Celtic team, like when you look back at them, it's only in hindsight now, they were proper senior pros, weren't they? Whereas we probably had still a few babies in the team, and I think they came down to Ewood Park and half of it was full with Celtic fans. I think Larsson scored after 5 minutes, which is 2-0, and then we need 3, and you just think, fuck this is game over, isn't it? And I had a beast that night. I remember just being so shit. I was so disappointed, but anyway.
Did you ever get a chance to sign for Celtic in your
career? I offered my services, but a chance now when I left Newcastle, so I was 29, 30, and I needed just to spark again in my career. A beast at Newcastle for 3 years for whatever reasons. So I needed to go, and I remember kind of contacting Celtic then, not contacting me. I think I ended up...
Write them a letter?
Back then it was probably a fax or a letter, there was no message, texts or iPhones or anything. No, the agent contacted, so it was probably Peter, I don't know. I'll have to ring him and see if he turned me down. But my fee to go to Fulham was 2.5 million, so needless to say, you would have got a bargain. I played in the Premier League for another 5 years, so.
That's a travesty, mate. That's a travesty for Celtic.
Nah, not for you, but listen, for me, I would have loved to go up, and fucking just a special place, isn't it?
Who was the manager? Was it Martin O'Neill? Would it be Martin O'Neill then?
So that would have been 2010. So who was 10? Fucking so it's Gaffer that turned me.
When knocked you back?
It's Gaffer that knocked me down, knocked me back, bastard. Anyway, Peter, it was either Peter or Gaffer, so wasn't meant to be.
What could have been? Right, World Cup. We'll touch on it. The famous 2002 World Cup. How much did you love meeting up Ireland back then? It seemed like a great squad of boys.
Yeah, that's probably been a constant through the whole time I've been involved with Ireland. They just a good group of lads, good honest boys, like represent their country, very proud. And yeah, I'm not sure it happens now, but like the first night of a meet up, whether it be 3 days or a week or 10 days, was always like a stag do. So I think that's why probably half the squad came in the first place. But yeah, back then there was, well, listen, even now there's good players in the squad, but through the years we've had some proper players, yeah.
Mate, can you confirm this for me? Because I played with, do you remember David Conley, the striker at Portsmouth?
Yeah.
He says to me that Richard Dunn is the best drinker of all time. Is that true?
Yeah, he's yeah. I've had a few nights out with Dunny. He might say this, he doesn't drink these, but you know, I've heard or been at the bar, and I'm nearly sure that he, instead of having a pint of beer or what have you, that he's had the odd pint of vodka with a dash of orange. But listen, he does tumble in the end. You know, the big man, he can put an awful lot of weight. He's hollow legs, big hollow legs. But in the end, I have seen him have a fall or two. But yeah, incredible drinker. And I think he missed probably a few sessions the next day along the way, but always delivered on a match day. But yeah, could put it away all right.
That's what he said. Dave Conley said about the top players, like they can do that. They can drink for 2 days and then go and play on a Tuesday and still be tremendous.
Yeah, I couldn't. I need to go to I get bad heebie-jeebies, a bit of paranoia, everything. So, you know, a night out for me, I could easily go missing for a week just to press the reset button. But yeah, them senior boys when we were first in the squad, like Quinn, Staunton, the likes of them, like frightening. They'd go. I remember nightclubs would finish at 3 o'clock in the morning. Obviously in Ireland, Glasgow, I'm sure the same everywhere. But there was some mad law or something, I think, back in the day, that you could get served on something that was moving. So, i.e. a train. So the lads would leave the nightclub, go get a train from wherever, Dublin to Cork. They could obviously get served because it was moving. They drink all the way to Cork, obviously get the train back, be back in Dublin for 8 or 9, and then just go training. Like, so
that's amazing, man.
It's just alcoholism stuff. Like, you can't be that desperate for a drink, but especially to go to Cork. But I'm not sure how true it is. That could be an old wives' tale, but I'm nearly sure there was a law that you could get served if something was moving, i.e. a plane or a train, and they used to get a train.
That's amazing, man. Did Mick McCarthy not mind that now? He was the manager at the time.
Well, Mick would be in bed. Like, he didn't, and like I said, the lads could just go and train normal the next day. Like, absolutely frightening. So they really noticed. They got away with it.
Right, talking to death stares, you talk about Lenny, but like a few of the boys must have got the death stare for Roy Keane for that.
I didn't. Yeah, like, listen, I think Keane bullied a few along the way. I think we all know that. But like, us young lads, likes of me, Robbie, Richie coming in, and I guess a bit of freshness, bit of cheekiness, I don't know. But he was always good as gold with me, so I never experienced the death stare. But listen, the one thing I would say about Roy, again, you wouldn't hear him speak much, but his banter's frightening. Like, it's cutting, but I love cutting, you know, dry banter. And he cut people in half, but it's absolutely hilarious. But I never had the death stare, I'll have to say, luckily enough.
What was that? You mentioned Robbie Keane there. How good was he?
Robbie was frightening. Like, I touched on at the start of this call that, you know, about coaching 4 or 5 days a week. You know, Robbie learned his trade on the street. I remember going playing Blackburn U team against Wolves U team. I was 16, he was 15, and I thought it was good at the time. But I remember playing against him. I hadn't heard of Robbie, and he obviously played up front. I think he bagged a hattie or something. But I was just thinking, this is another level here from even what I'm at here. So I thought, you need to up your A game. But just his movement, everything. This is at 15, so he wasn't coached, and he just taught himself just from the street. And listen, Robbie wasn't the lightning, he wasn't the quickest, the strongest, the biggest, whatever. But his movement was just absolutely frightening. And his finishing, obviously, as well. And that's why he's our greatest goal scorer, which will absolutely never be beaten or anybody come near.
I think Killian Sheridan might beat it.
Yeah, he plays for another 2 million years, maybe, but otherwise, maybe not.
Right, mate, on to the situation with Mick McCarthy and Roy Keane. Where were you when it all kicked off?
I think it was before a meal, like, but you know, everything's fascinated with in Ireland. Like, Roy had every right to go crazy at the facilities over there. Like, obviously went on the pitch the first day. We're 10 days out from a World Cup and we didn't have footballs, so that's probably not a good start. The pitch didn't really have any grass on it. It was like a car park. and we didn't have kits, so we were just running around in our polos and stuff like that. I think the balls arrived, mind you, the next day. But yeah, like a car park, I think. Listen, it's Saipan, obviously, that's what it's known as. I remember Mick asked for the pitch to be watered, but there was no grass on it, so it was just like watering a mud bath. So we went the next day, and listen, Saipan was caught in a time warp from the 1940s, from World War II, so nothing had changed. And it was this old man with a fire engine, and the fire engine was from the World War. And he's literally just stood in the middle of the pitch, just with a hose, just stood, and he must have been stood there for, I don't know, like a couple of hours, but he'd never watered a pitch in his life. So he just watered more or less the centre circle and a bit around it, saw us pull up, roll up his hose and just drove off. And like, it was just something from a comedy sketch. I think we ended up maybe playing 5-0 in the middle of the mud bath. And lads, listen, the Irish, we know how to laugh and have fun even in times of that. So the lads were just sliding around like I don't know what, like using them as water slides. So it's like absolutely bizarre. But obviously, it's never right. The stands are used to Man U. I guess we saw the funny side, but just Roy flipped and decided he'd had enough. Like, so.
Wait, see within the squad, like, see if it was me and that was happening, was everyone staring at Roy to see what his reaction was?
Yeah, that was always a couple. Listen, Roy's standards were absolutely sky high, as they should be. And like later on the years, where I guess you're not a young buck anymore, like I probably would have been the same as in angry wise. I wouldn't have walked because I was just desperate to play in a World Cup. But like, it was a fucking shambles. Like to go to a World Cup training camp and you're training literally on concrete with no kit and no balls, I think he'd have every right to lose his rag, you know.
When did he crack then? Was it on the training pitch or was it when he's got back to the hotel?
I think he was constantly cracking, really, just simmering, then just exploded. But I said everything was like, I think the whole country back here was, you know, blown up and divided over that. But like, footballers are selfish creatures, and yeah, it was, I guess, upsetting for the squad. Me as a player, I wanted to play in a World Cup and go far into it with Roy. Whether he would have helped us, I'm sure he would have, but I just wanted to play in a World Cup. So if he was going home, okay. If he was staying, okay. I just was really focused on A, wanting to play, getting the starting team, and B, playing well.
Was he brilliant though, Duffer? Seeing training and that, was he good?
Yeah, like, just again, standards. The top boys always have sky high standards, but just the king of just absolute simplicity. Always would play the right ball, the right way, the right side, the right angle, just as clean, the cleanest, crispest passes I've ever seen, and just always the right decision. And that's why I guess he drove Man United along for so many years. But listen, Roy would tell you himself, does he do Christ or step overs or what? No, but absolutely the best I've ever seen at just driving the game and just, you know, making the right decision all the time.
Yeah, you never rule out that Ireland team. Got so many big results, like the Germany result. Did you believe that you could beat anyone?
We're just happy-go-lucky, like, just let's go and have a crack off these. So I think that was the second game, wasn't it? And they, I guess, got to the final, and we were probably the stronger team in that, and we could have beat them. I remember Khan making a good save for me, Robbie obviously scoring in the last minute. So yeah, we never really sat down and had a serious chat. I guess it's just the Irish, the Celts. I don't know what the Scots are like. You know, we'd go back and probably Dunny was having a few points. I was asleep, so it wasn't as if we were, you know, having serious chats about how far we're going into this competition here. It was just, right, it's a game. Let's go have a crack off these.
Let's have a crack off these. That's brilliant, man. You scored the third goal via Saudi Arabia, led to the iconic image, your celebration. Are they the type of memories that are hard to match? Still think back of them?
It's nice to listen to the goal. It was lovely movement, a little blindside run and hard to defend, a clean strike but no power. I remember being fucked. It was nearly the 90th minute and the goalkeeper just dropped it in. So from a goal point of view, it was shit, really. Movement was good. Celebration, I just remember before the game, I remember Robbie had a cartwheel and I was thinking, well, that's pretty cool. Like, if you score, it'd be nice to do something. I was brushing my teeth and I thought, everyone just bowed, like in Japan and Korea, everyone just bows at you. Just thought, if I score, I'll just bow. And it kind of ended up with an iconic image in Irish sport. But yeah, they're special moments, aren't they? World Cup, not many Irish people have scored or played in the World Cup, so it was nice, yeah.
We spoke to Joe Ledley and we spoke to Kyle Lafferty, who played at big tournaments with Wales and Northern Ireland, and they said that most of the time, again, it was like a stag do. Would it be similar in their times? Would you again get a drink in that?
Yeah, like, oh my God, the World Cup. I hate myself now for doing it because I was a top pro, but like Germany, I'd like to think it was a top pro, but yeah, I did get lamped a few times in that World Cup. I remember Germany, obviously the last minute equaliser from Robbie. We drank till 4 a.m. Would I do it now? No. That was the other one, Spain. Before the Spain game, so that's a knockout tie. 3 days before, I went out and got absolutely. And like I said at the start, I'm not good with hangovers. So like Spain was a good game for me. I played well, but if I didn't go get lamped, probably would have played an awful lot better. Remember we snuck out. I think Mick brought us down to the bar. So Spain were playing their last group game because you can have a beer and watch the game. So I think 12 of us, because we called ourselves the Dirty Dozen in the end. We watched the game. We got right up to bed. So needless to say, 12 of us snuck out to an Irish bar. Stayed there till 2-3 in the morning. I think everyone went back home. Footballers with money would usually go to probably a strip club or a nightclub. Me and Stephen Reid decided to go to a stand-up comedy club where you could put your name down and do a sketch on stage. And I'm so like glad that back then there was no real camera phones or at and then. So I remember putting my name that I was lamped, like, so I went up and did my sketch on stage, like people in the odd. I don't know. Then Reedy goes up after me and he does his sketch. Like, thank God there's no footage of this stuff because, like, just so embarrassed. Actually, sorry, regarding camera phones, you might tell me if you checked, but I remember when we arrived there in 2002 and we're all getting on the bus and everybody was pointing their phones at us, and this was going on for 2-3 days, and we were like, because we'd never seen a camera phone before, and we're like, what are these fucking idiots doing? Like, they're all pointing their phones at us, and we found out after a couple of days, there was a camera on their phone. And needless to say, none of us will end up on Dragon's Den or anything like that, because we're all at the back of the bus going, fucking idiots. Like, why would you have a camera on your phone? Like, that'll never work out, man. It'll never work out. They're fucking stupid. And it's probably the biggest selling thing, probably the best invention of all time, camera phones. So, but we didn't think it would work out, the Irish lads, the camera phone.
I know you said there that you wish you wouldn't have done that, but it was probably that team spirit, you all being together and doing this sort of stuff, which made you so successful on the pitch now.
Yeah, that's a constant with Irish teams throughout the years, probably as any sport, but yeah, that camaraderie and togetherness, and like we're a proud nation, a bit like the Welsh and the Scottish, I guess. And listen, if something good happens in my life or fucking Irish people's lives or the Irish team, or bad happens, you just have to drink, don't you? So you're good, you're celebrating. Bad, you're drowning your sorrows. So yeah, we did seem to, I guess, drink a lot. But
quite right, mate. Right, many say your performance v Spain last 16 that showcased your world class ability. How do you look back on the game and the outcome? You had the fullback doing the Canadian band dance, didn't you?
Yeah, I was, I guess, just a young boy, just playing without fear on a football pitch, just to simplify it. Just give me the ball and I'll dribble that. And I remember just doing that for the whole 120 minutes. But like, everyone says great and well done, and we should have beaten them. I think they were down to 10 men. We missed a penalty. We battered them. I think they went on to get Korea in the next round. So, there could have been a little pathway to maybe do something there. So yeah, well done, great, what have you. But listen, we should have beaten them. They weren't the Spain that they are now. People hear Spain, but they absolutely weren't. So yeah, it was disappointing, I guess, in a way as well.
Were you never the type to get nervous, even in a massive game like that?
Yeah, I would. Like, I liked that kind of butterflies, nerves type thing. I think the minute you don't have that, it's time to jack it. Like, so, I liked having that tension, and it made me a better player. So no, I always had that. Yeah. Absolutely. And I
always want to ask this to top players, right? So you've been flying in the World Cup. Obviously, you're flying at Blackburn. Do you know after that tournament, I'm getting a massive move here?
Yeah, you guess you're more on people's radar, and I think that's somewhere where big clubs started to speak to me, and so I think I met them even when I got eventually back home. So yeah, it's the world stage, isn't it? And listen, I knew I'd had, I guess, a good tournament, so that's where I guess teams really started to stand up and take notice. So,
do you think if they'd seen your sketch at that comedy club, they would have
won? Yeah, possibly. that's even before the Spain game. Like, I'm just thinking after the Spain game, we couldn't even fly home. So I think there was a 48-hour bender for obviously 2 days. And I remember walking home through the middle of Seoul back to my hotel and seeing the distance, like a few bodies just laying the concrete. And this is just us in a nutshell, I guess, the Irish team. And I walk up and I'm obviously stumbling home to the hotel and there's 3 people going to sleep on the pavement with no shoes on. I get closer and it's Gary Kelly, Richie Dunn and Ian Hart, and they couldn't be arsed going home, so they just decided I'll just sleep here. And they took their shoes off. They told me later that they chucked them in the bush just to get comfortable, and they just decided to have a sleep on the path in the middle of Seoul. So I just kept walking home. Obviously, I'm not sure how well they slept.
Oh mate, heroes, man. They 3 are heroes. I love them. What guys? Right, mate. On the big teams, it was Man U and Liverpool you were linked with. Did any of them nearly happen?
Yeah, I met both of them. I think maybe both summers after the World Cup and then the summer after. Nearly happened with both, but I'm not sure what my get out at Blackburn was with 15, 16 million or something at the time. Obviously went for 17 point something, but I think it was maybe too much for them. But, you know, Chelsea was never on my radar. Ideally, it would have been Man U, Liverpool, great club, Irish connection, that would have been as well. But Chelsea just kind of came in left field. But yeah, nearly happened with the 2, but I think it was just money.
Did you speak to Fergie?
Yeah, I met, I was going to say the gaffer, but he wasn't my gaffer, was he? Yeah, I met him and spoke to him, and listen, as you'd imagine, absolutely legend and amazing meeting him. And yeah, the minute you spend time with him and hear him talk about football, you want to play for him. But like I said, I think it just cost too much. And listen, they got better wingers than me in the end. So everything worked out for all parties involved.
Sorry to be so nosy, but where did you meet Alex Ferguson? Did you go up to his house?
No, I met him in the kit man's house. So it was Albert.
The guy with the glasses?
Yeah. I think Fergie did all his business in Albert's house. Albert picked me up at the airport, brought me there, and I didn't say a word. Like, I was still a baby, 21 or something, 22. Didn't say a word for 2-3 hours. I think I was just stared at and was probably dribbling as well. Man made me wear a shirt and tie, just as Irish mothers do. Put on your shirt and tie. Yeah, it was suit and boot. It looked like a dick, probably. So that's probably why he didn't sign me, because I was just dribbling, looking at him.
That's amazing, man. So when did you hear at Chelsea? Was it Abramovich? Did he just take over?
I think he just took over overnight and just decided to start spending money. Like I said, left field was never really on. I never thought it'd end up down the smoke.
And did you speak to him, Abramovich?
No, listen, Roman always kind of plays dumb that he can't speak any language, but he's got, I'd say, 5 or 6 in the bank. He understands every word of English. So no, I didn't speak to him on the phone. Yeah, I around the club, and I eventually did sign. You'd have the odd conversation with him, what have you. But no, he just paid the bills.
Is it true you were dying of a hangover when you found out about Chelsea's interest?
Yeah, well, most footballers in their 4-6 weeks over the summer, they'd always be dying of hangovers, I guess. So yeah, initially, yeah, when I got the message, I was dying of a hangover. And me with my heebie-jeebies, I don't think I returned the golf for 2 or 3 days. Just need to sharpen up, you know. So yeah, it was true.
And it was Ranieri.
Ranieri, yeah. So again, I was in no rush to go earn a lot of money or to move to London. I was, I guess, one of the best, or the best player at Blackburn. I knew I was always going to play, and I think I hummed and hawed over for a couple of weeks. I flew down to London, I think 2-3 times. I met Claudio once, and like, so charismatic as you'd imagine. And I remember him just saying, "You'll play 99% of the games." And that always stuck out with me, because I was just thinking about the 1%. I wanted to play the 1% as well. So yeah, great playing 99, but I wanted 100. So like I said, I wasn't in a rush to leave, but in the end, I just thought, listen, you have to go and further yourself. And you see the names down there, Terry, Lampard, like you said, Crespo, and we're signing all sorts. And I just thought, you can't turn this down, you know.
And was the aim straight away to win the Premier League, Duffer?
Was it what?
Was the aim to win the Premier League straight away?
Yeah, like Claudio wouldn't have maybe put as much pressure on you. He was always about, building and foundations, and we're going to build. But like at Chelsea, you don't get that time. You have to win straight away. That was probably the marked difference between him and Jose. Jose came in and went, boom, we're winning the league here. Whereas Claudio, he's, I want to build and this and that. And you're looking at him going, I ain't going to get that time, mate. You better hurry up. So...
Yeah. As you said, massive names, mate. Makelele, Crespo, Veron, Joe Cole arriving at the same time as you. See the big players still get the same laugh as you can with Blackburn players? Or is it completely different? Is it much more professional?
No, they still good banter. Even Desai, like I remember I was watching something on him the other day, like incredible player. Obviously he was coming to the tail end, but just funny guy and so happy go lucky, and like amazing laugh, like amazing bunch. We ended up, that was probably one of the other teams I played in my career where it kind of ended up a bit similar to the Irish team, as in camaraderie and mates and fun. And even when we were playing 60, 70 games a season, we were out every weekend together and always out in the town and pissed. That, I think that's half the battle as well, and it builds a good bond between everyone. So they're good guys.
But the big players would go every week?
Yeah, all the time.
Who was good on a night? Who was good? Who was good?
It was the English lads. I'd never want to be part of them, but it was the group. They always call themselves the Bulldogs. So like it would have been Bridgie, Lamps, JT, a couple of the English physios and what have you. Ida was involved in it. But because of the Irish thing and all, I was like, I want to be part of your group, but you're not calling me a bulldog. But yeah, that was our group of lads. And yeah, we'd be out all the time. A few of the farm boys would flip in and flip out. The foreigners would go out and not drink, I guess, and feel good the next day. Whereas, as you'd imagine, British and Irish lads and Icelandic, Ida, just go out and get absolutely lamped. But this was every week, so it was just the norm.
Amazing. What was that? I love Makelele. How good was he?
He was frightening. He was so good. I guess he got a role on a pitch call after him, the Makelele role. Like everyone talks about, Robin, Lampard, Terry, Cech, but what Makelele did, he just connected everyone in the group on the pitch, and with the ball, brilliant, so underrated, and obviously without the ball as well, it's probably similar to what you'd get with, I guess, Kante nowadays when he plays in the six.
Yeah. So. You finished second that year, reached the semi-final of the Champions League. Could you believe when Ranieri was sacked? Or was that just the sign of the standards that Abramovich was after? Yeah,
there was always rumours, and I never heard for concrete, but you just knew he was gone. I think he even knew it, the last game of the season at the Bridge. I remember he was emotional and waving everyone off, and you just think that's his last game here, he's done. And then I think Jose was named a week later, wasn't he, after they won the Champions League. So you always knew they were going to bring someone big in. See, but Ranieri obviously says quite a lot of things that you think, what the fuck's he talking about, like that dilly-dilly and all that. Would there be times where he would speak and the boys would nudge each other in that? What was it, dilly dong, dilly d or something? He used to always say that in the I don't know what it means. His English was kind of half Italian, half, I don't know what, there was slang, everything in it, but you got the gist. It was a bit like Trapattoni when I had him as an Irish manager. But you get the gist of where they're going with it. But lovely man, and listen, what he did with Leicester, could make a movie about that. See, when you heard Mourinho come and describe himself as a special one, was there any thoughts like, this guy's going to be a dick? Not really. You were just kind of excited at the anticipation, I guess, of meeting him. I remember the first meeting, I was late, me and Ida. I'm not sure whether we drove together or what. We all had to meet the Bridge at 9 o'clock, and that's King's Road, Fulham Roads. It's a hard place to get to, and me being a bit thick with London traffic, I was 10-15 minutes late and I was sweating. But he was good as gold, and he just knew straight away. Just the detail he brought to training, to opposition, to planning game plans, just fucking nothing that was I'd ever seen in my life. I think that's where coaches are at now, but back then, and that was what, 03, I don't think coaches went into that much detail, and he obviously raised the standards and just the belief. He has that front, he calls himself the special one, and he just got you believing that you were a better player as well. So everyone's careers and they all became better players, and that's why they won the league. It was all down to him, just that change of mindset.
See, just on that, when you're talking about being late, was there no time, again, speaking to Ryan Christie, was there no time that you had to run?
Yeah. What was it? It was fucking one of the best teams I've ever played. It was, again, 10 years later, again in London, so I still haven't got used to London traffic, and we were playing Shakhtar Donetsk in, I'm not sure, it was the second round of the quarter-final of the UEFA Cup, and like I was going to be 20 minutes late for the meeting, like at 5:30 for an 8 o'clock kickoff. I was like, you're a clown. Like, I was like, what? I was absolutely rattled. So I just literally pulled in on the A4, just a little slip road, dumped my car, and I was like 2.5, 3K from the ground, and I had like, I don't know, 12, 15 minutes to get there, and I had to sprint. So anyone that knows Shakhtar Donetsk, it was like playing Barcelona. So like they had Willian, Eduardo, Fernandinho, they were bopping. So like I didn't even need to do a warm-up in the game. I was fatigued before the game because, like I said, to sprint 3K, come into the meeting sweating, panting. But that was just me, I guess. Most players would probably go, listen, I'm late, I've had a crash, whatever. But whereas I was like, I'm not missing this here. So yeah, I sprinted to a UEFA Cup quarter-final against Shakhtar Donetsk.
How did you play it?
I didn't really jump down my slot a lot with the ball. Without the ball, I was a bit leggy, I won't lie to you. So, but mind you, we didn't have the ball a lot that night. So that's the one thing about Roy, keep you organised. So it kind of suited me that we were playing them because I didn't really have to do that and proactive. I was just kind of shuffling all night. Well, I was a bit stiff before the game.
Another bit of research I've done, you love people doing extra, but did Jose no pull you one day for doing extra?
Yeah. It was just a line I always have a bit of crack with the lads with. I was a devil for doing extra throughout my career. I wish I didn't work as hard. That sounds strange, but like it's probably why I walk with a limp now. But yeah, I was out for a month. I was just about to go in for a knee op. We were playing Man United a month later, and he goes, take your time, whatever, no problem, but be fit for Man United. Which was amazing to hear, just before you get an anaesthetic, go under. So got myself back, I think, record 18 days from knee cartilage operation, and for the next 12 days I was just battering it, pitch runs, everything. And 2 or 3 days before the game, he comes up to me just like such
so cool
charisma, yeah, just cool as hell. Like I'm a straight guy, but like you'd near on fancy him. Like he's just so cool and good looking. And he just came up to me, goes, Duffer, and I'm like, what? And he goes, too much water kills the flower. And I was like, oh, okay. And I just obviously walked off the pitch, and yeah, so that's, I guess, my line. I'm not sure where you heard that one with, but I always reference Jose's line, too much water kills the flower.
That's amazing, man. See, on that, what you said about you wish you'd practice less, why is that? Just because of your injuries and stuff like that?
Like on a Friday, I'd still be doing extras, like, and you have a game the next day, so there's nothing to be gained then. But I never got any good at that. Even at Melbourne, when I was 35, playing over there, like obviously Saturday to a Saturday game, and Tuesday, Wednesday, I'd be the best player on the pitch, but by Friday, Saturday, it's fucking shit. Like, so when I came to match day, I was brutal because I just worked too hard. So I never learned to work smarter during the week. Like, I just always did too much, always. And listen, would I change it now? It's who I am, but it definitely affected me a lot of times on a Saturday, I won't lie.
Why did you do it? Did you feel that you needed to get better?
It's just me. Mrs. always says now, like, I just work too hard, even on laptops or this and that. I don't know. And I enjoy being on a football pitch, I guess, kicking balls, but I wasn't clever at it.
See, just on Mourinho, obviously, in that era, mate, it looked like the players absolutely loved him. Was it just that presence that you had? How would he get you feeling like $1 million? Would it just be a wee word in your ear? Would it be a meeting that he would have with you?
Anything. He knew how to push people's buttons. So, like, he'd give me the love and what have you when I need it. But I've had, tongue lashings off and screaming in my face from 2 meters. So he's really good at that psychology side. He knows what everybody needs. And like I said, just the swagger of him. You're just looking at him with just big emoji heart eyes going, oh, you're cool, man. He's just... And then, like I said, the detail that he brought to the team. But the lads absolutely adored him. I'm not sure now when you look at his teams and him, for whatever reason, football's changed, he's changed, society's changed. But back then, my God, the lads would have done anything for him. And
he used to look like $1 million, like he was glowing. Now he just looks a bit miserable, doesn't he? He needs to get that back, man.
well, that's what old age does. Come back to me and you in 20 years, see how we look.
See, when you said about the 2 metres away, can you remember the instance why he done it?
It was Man City, I remember half time. We were crap, like I think we were losing 1-0 in El Capeno. We lost 1-0, but he did the whole squad, to be fair. He went around the whole 11 or 18 or whatever, and he had a little word for everyone just off the cuff. And I'm not sure what he said to me, but yeah, he nailed everyone, like, and didn't give a fuck. Frightening. Brilliant coach.
Would anyone ever say anything back to him?
No. He was always right. I won't lie to you. The lads, there was never any needs. Like what he saw in the game, his detail, and why he said it, when he said it. I never saw a lad coming back at him.
Would he be the best you've worked for, Duffer?
Yeah, you'd have to say. Yeah. You'd have to say, yeah. Like obviously the name and what he's won in the game, but what he did with that team, just listen. There were some world class players in it, but he just turned them into serial, winners overnight. And
then Robin arrived that summer. How were you being at a top club, seeing big names coming in? Did it worry you? Did it push you on? Did Jose make you feel fine about Robin coming in?
Well, it was Ranieri, I think, that signed them. So it was all planned. It wasn't Jose that bought him. But yeah, I remember being a bit rattled, like me being naive at the time. I remember saying in the press something along them lines, about my future at Chelsea because Robin was signing. But like my first year at Chelsea, I think I dislocated my shoulder twice. I had a knee op. Throughout my career, I guess I had loads of ops. So I probably didn't have the greatest year. And I was probably a bit rattled just that he's coming in. I've had a big money move. He's going to take my place. But it kind of worked out well, I guess, that we both rotated left, right wing. He could play inside. So there was nothing to worry about, I guess.
See, when you were rattled, would you ever be the type to go and say to a manager, like, why is he coming? Where does that leave me? Or would you just go on?
I never in my whole 20 years in England, never knocked on a manager's door. They'd just fill you with shit, or as you say up in Scotland, they fill you with pish. Is that what you say? And B, I guess there's a reason. So if it was possible to work harder, then I'd just go work harder. So I never knocked on anyone's door. I just thought, listen, I'm going to get back in the team, and I just knuckle down even more if that was possible, and I'll get back in.
And then, mate, next season, what a trio! You, Robin, and Drogba. Is that as deadly as a trio that you played with?
It was good. But like, even I think Robbie was injured for a few months. Like, you've Joe Cole coming in to take his place, and sometimes Ida Gudjonsson, amazing footballer, would play off the side as well, or take Drogba's place, and you'd still play with two wingers. So yeah, they were literally devastating. I think Drogba started off slowly. I think he was still really raw at the time, whereas Robin, like, it was bizarre looking at him because he had a funny type of run, and he always kind of held his one arm in and he'd run like that, but he was just lightning without
Kaiser Soze,
yeah, something like that. And didn't have a trick. He was probably similar to me. It was just a dip of the shoulder, just the old school winger down to go one way, but he was just so powerful at it, and that's why he's had the career he's had. And I actually see he's coming back out of retirement this week as well, so I have to get the boots back on looking at him. But frightening he was ridiculous.
Seeing some clubs, like people playing the same position, they end up being a bit of a rivalry there. Was it similar to you and Robin, or were you pally?
No, we were good mates. Probably different. Like I said, I thought I was a top pro. I was the way I worked and prepared and all, but I still drank. I'd have the night out and what have you. Whereas Robbie didn't even drink. Like, he was a proper on the straight and narrow.
It looks like he's been drinking for about 50 years.
No, he never touched it.
Wow.
Whereas me and the Bulldogs, I guess you could call them, we'd be we'd be out in pieces. But no, I never had that rivalry. I didn't need that anywhere I went. If someone was going for my position or me for theirs, why? It just creates friction. So I just used to drive myself. So no, none of that.
Drogba, mate, gained a reputation for diving. He's ever wind him up in training or that?
Not really. Like, Didier was a big a big character, great fun. Yeah, he would make a mountain out of a molehill. I guess the size of him, he'd go down like a sack of spuds, wouldn't he? But like I said, as I just said there, he was raw when he come. Like, even for me, his touch. Like, my brother was young at the time, and we'd always have a giggle, about Didier's touch. Like, I thought it was rough around the edges at best when he first come, but like, obviously at the end of his Chelsea career, he was, a Premier League absolute great and world class. But at the diving, I know what you mean. He was.
Would Terry boot him in that if you dive in training?
JT, to be fair, he'd kick his granny, JT. So I don't remember any particular incident, but listen, he wouldn't hold back. He trained the way he played, and again, that's why he had the career. But listen, Didier was a strong man. I know he did dive a lot, you can call it diving, but he was a strong boy. Absolutely bullied centre halves, bullied them.
What a player as well, eh? Talk us through the madness, mate. 4-2 win over Barca. You scored to put Chelsea 3 up after 20 minutes, but Ronaldinho is on one. Is that the best game you played in?
I'd be up there just for quality. Was Jose suspended? No, he was there for that game. I remember actually starting a riot. I didn't mean to between the two benches. I obviously scored that night, and I think my ma and dad was there, and our seats were right in the halfway line, and I scored, and I've kind of looped back around and ran up to the, right in front of the benches, but it's obviously the halfway line, and just celebrate and going mental as you do. But I think the Barca bench thought I was winding them up, so I remember I kind of started a little mini riot, but I didn't mean to. But yeah, I guess it was the Ronaldinho show. I know we went through, but that toe bog, again, that's street stuff, isn't it? When do you ever go into the football pitch and coach a kid how to toe bog a ball? Like, you don't. If someone did it, you probably tell them off. But the whole ground, I remember, that was the everything just went silent. They were just like, did that really just happen? That's how good that goal was.
Because see that game, Jose told the media you wouldn't be playing in the first leg. Would he be telling you something different? Was it all just mind games?
It was the second game. It was the first leg, so the away one.
Yeah.
So I think we lost 2-1, and we'd played Newcastle on the Sunday. I got a bang on my knee. I think we were playing on the Tuesday or the Wednesday, obviously. So we went straight to Barcelona. He pulled me. He goes, "Listen, I'm going to tell the media that you're not playing." He goes, "But you are playing. You're playing on the left, so just get ready for that." I'm like, okay. And he went and did the presser, obviously, and said I wasn't playing. And just the fact then that he said it in the media, I was like, maybe I'm not playing. So it was just, you believe that he says. So I ended up believing then I wasn't playing bizarrely, even though he told me I was. So I didn't think I was playing then until he obviously named the team and I was. So it was a bit kind of strange for me. I was like, I don't know why he's even lying to me here. He's kind of fucked with my mind a bit. But yeah, we obviously did them over the 2 ties, and that's where the Chelsea, I think, rivalry started. But he wanted them in the draw. Before the draw was made, he was like, I want Barcelona. And we were all like, why do you want Barcelona? Like, they're ridiculous. And he goes, because we stopped them playing. I remember the line was in the airport flying back from somewhere, and he goes, we stopped them playing and they don't stop us. And that was his simple way of saying we'll beat them. I was thinking, okay.
What, he gathered you all together in the airport to tell you that?
He's just sitting down, as he does, just cool, and we're all chatting around with him, just having a bit of banter, and he, Gaffer, who do you want? And he goes, Barcelona. And they're like, why do you want Barca? That was him. He just goes, because we'll stop them playing and they won't stop us. And we thought he was mad, but I guess it gets you believing even more that he wants them, and then he gets us to beat them.
Yeah, he sounds like the best guy ever, man. See with the mind games, was it constant? Like, would you do that with all the players, or was it just certain types you would do it?
It was just constant in general, I guess. Like, the media, like, he played the media, he had the meeting out of his hands. Like, nothing really was ever said about the players. It was just him or a mad story or something he come out with. So it absolutely took the pressure off the players. I think he has a degree in psychology or something like that. He's a genius at working people. Genius.
Just winning the Premier League, Duffer, is it as good as you thought it would be?
It was nice, yeah. It was nice. I think we won it at Bolton, and we trained the day before in Blackburn, and because it was obviously down the roads. We trained at the training ground, so it was my old haunt. And I remember pulling my calf. I was devastated. It was fucking absolutely gutted. Like, so I remember just breaking down the pitch, like bawling. I'm like 25. What age was 25, 26, and just bawling like a baby. So yeah, I missed the Bolton game because we were staying up to play Liverpool a couple of days later in the Champions League, the famous handball game. So I just knew that I'd missed that as well. So yeah, listen, it was fucking absolutely amazing winning the league. It's what, listen, you dream of being a footballer, but then to win the odd medal or two was nice.
See, just on that Liverpool game, obviously Chelsea kind of got robbed a bit. Like, see, in a dressing room after a game, does Jose go off his nut?
No, again, he's top class at reading a situation. The lads have been amazing for him all year. The lads have played well on the night, but I must say, like, if I was to choose one atmosphere, obviously Celtic Park aside, from my career when I was a player, like that night, that's specific night, Liverpool Chelsea, I've never seen anything like it. And I know they've built a bigger stand now. There's an extra 20 in it. I'd love to go experience it one day, but no, he didn't go off his nut. It was, bigs, hugs, kisses, and we'll get stronger now and win it again next year. It was very simple what he said.
You mentioned them, Terry and Lampard, both homegrown boys. How good? Best you played, are they two?
Yeah, just proper, like obviously quality aside, just proper pros, just absolutely work their socks off every day, led by example, never missed a game. I think Lamps had held the record of Prem, 180 on the bounce or something, or nearly broke it, I don't know. But Terry as a defender, absolutely amazing, but so underrated with his feet. Like, it was only when I went to the club I was thinking, wow, left foot, right foot. I don't even know what foot he was. I think he was right, but world class off either foot. And then obviously Lamps, Lamps would tell you himself, it wasn't really natural happening with him, but he just worked every day on fitness and finishing. You look at his finishing, you think, oh, why is that natural? Absolutely not. He just chipped away every day, 5-10 minutes, and always hitting corners, absolutely no problem. And then obviously his runs, the timing. Listen, I think he can coach that to some extent, but I think with Lamps, he's a really clever guy, and just his time in the runs, I think that was natural with him, without doubt.
See how you said you do extra? Would it always be you and Lampard that you would do it? Would you like cross balls in for him to finish?
Yeah, not as simple as that, but yeah, like I'd always just hang out in the train. I never felt right if I was walking in, there was lads doing extra, so I'd like to be, one of the last to leave. But like I said, it's no myth why Lamps becomes, I think he was voted the best Chelsea player of all time and is finishing this and that. It's because he fucking practiced every day. It was simple as that.
See, when you win the league, Dover, how does Jose and the boys celebrate winning the league? He's got isn't he?
Well, the Bolton game where we won it, I think we'd go home and just eat and go to bed because we had Liverpool in a couple of days in the semi-final. Actually, the one bit that stands out in my mind that day, we won the league. We went back and we were eating. I remember Barcelona played that night. Somebody might tell me wrong, but it was Messi's debut. We were all just around the screen. I think he lobbed the keeper, disallowed, and then he lobbed him again. And we were all looking and go, who's this fucking freak? Like, so the day we won the league was the day I think Messi made his debut, where everyone just sat up and went, this guy's amazing. But celebrate, not that week, but definitely in the coming weeks, I said, because the lads like the party.
Would Jose join into it? Would he take you to a nice place?
He'd be more, bring you for a meal and a glass of wine. He'd shoot off. He wouldn't be down in China Whites bouncing on tables or anything like that.
Retained the title again in your second season, and then decided to leave at the end of it. Why?
Just, I guess, wanting to play every minute, every game. I'd few injuries, problems, shock on the run-in. I didn't play a lot in the run-in. I played a lot in the first half of the season. And I think it was November, we were playing Champions League. I trained at the Bridge and we'd done a warm down. I don't know why to this day. I remember this where it all started. And I was just so excited, just a kid at heart, really. I thought, this is great. You go, okay, come in, get a shower. So I'd warm down, stretching out. I just decided to sprint in. I remember sprinting in. I don't know fucking why. And I felt my Achilles. I was like, oh my days. So I struggled with that for the rest of the season. So second half, last third, didn't play a lot. And had a few run-ins with Jose. He was like, what's wrong with you? About me not playing well, what's wrong? I just couldn't get any form back. And at the end of the season, I was just like, I'm out here, just stubborn head of me. I'm gone. I'm going to go play somewhere else. I remember they offered me a new contract. So like, it wasn't if Chelsea asked me to leave. I had a new deal on the table. And he goes, the day before I went to Newcastle, he goes, Duffer, if you're fit and you're playing well, you play my team. I said, oh, listen, great gaffer, but again, me being stubborn was just, listen, I'm out here, I'm gone. I'm probably not backing myself as well. I think that year they signed Shevchenko and Ballack. And I just thought, I convinced myself they were going to play Diamond because he had Drogba, Shevchenko. I just thought they have to play. He won with Porto the Champions League with Diamond. So I just thought, I'm out the door here, especially the way the season finished. So I just thought, I'll go to Newcastle, big club, good friends up there. I just thought I'll get back to being a flying winger again.
Mate,
which I absolutely didn't.
And you also killed Shevchenko's career, mate, because he ended up getting shoved out to the left, didn't he? Having a shocker.
Yeah, I think his legs are gone by then. You know, people say your legs go at 30, 31. Like, I lost a yard at 27-ish, and that would have been Shevchenko's age. Like, you play so much football so young. Like, it's not 30, 31. You definitely lose a yard earlier on. So Shevchenko, listen, he didn't have the greatest times there either, did he?
No. You said you had pals, friends up in Newcastle. Who was that? Sheila?
My pal?
Yeah.
Oh, no. No, just the Irish boys and Scott McKee. So Carsey, Stephen Carr, Shay Given, Scott Parker. We would have had a good proper laugh up there. Even though I was having an absolute terror time. I couldn't leave the house up there. I used to get abused. Like,
did you?
Couldn't walk down the street. Yeah, I wouldn't change it for the world. It's character building, like, but yeah, I couldn't walk down the street. Remember, I don't know why, it must have been something with Wagamama's. It happened twice. 2 different geezers walking down to Wagamama's, once on my own, once with my cousin. This geezer just started following me, just screaming his head off, just going, "Duff, you're fucking shit, man." Just the whole end. Like, Jesus. So I walk into Wagamama's thinking, oh, he's gone now. And I sat down. Next minute, he's at the top of the restaurant, just screaming, "Duff, you're fucking shit, man." I'm just like, Jesus. Restaurant's full. I'm like, this is the most mortifying thing ever. So when it happened the second time in Wagamama's again with a different guy following me down the street, following me into the restaurant, and doing the same thing, I was like, you have to get out here, mate. Fuck, this club ain't for you.
With Chelsea, mate, you're in London, mate, they've got their own things going on, but Newcastle's so intense, isn't it?
Ah, yeah, listen, when it's going well, amazing place and what have you, and they live for the football, they love the passion and all, but listen, I didn't play particularly well up there for 3 years, a lot of injury problems, and like I said, I just hid in my house for 3 years because I just got slaughtered everywhere I went.
Mate, you went for Jose Mourinho to Glen Road, and I suppose it's like going for a match of the day to doing this. Could you tell, was that a massive difference?
Listen, Clem's a nice guy. He's just a massive in just standards and everything around the place. You just felt, even as a group of players, they're just like, half of these don't give a fuck. Like, and Newcastle pays good wages, and there were some big names up there, but like I said, half of them didn't give a damn about the team, and that kind of broke my heart a bit. You know, I get slaughtered for not giving, a shit when I was up there. I couldn't have worked any harder, but the harder I worked, the worse I seemed to get. But yeah, it was just it wasn't a particularly nice change room at any point, really. It wasn't a great place.
How early into your Newcastle career could you tell it wasn't going to work?
Probably wasn't too far in. Probably if I passed the ball backwards and I started getting booed, I was like, listen, Newcastle fans, they probably saw me sign. They think this man's going to be maybe electric, and every time he gets the ball, he's, going to dribble and take on 2, 3, 4, whereas maybe my game was evolved and getting worse, call it what you want, but I'd lost that yard, and I was kind of maybe figuring out how to change my game, and that's probably where Fulham benefited. But like I said, I was never really in top form when I was up there, and I probably wasn't long into after a couple of months, I was thinking, they ain't having me here. And then obviously got a bad injury, and that was it.
What was the divide in the change room? Was it like the British boys and the foreign boys?
No, nothing like that. Just a mentality. It was just like not really caring too much, on good wages, come in, train, whatever, losing a Saturday, they don't care. And I'll head off home.
Would you pull boys up for that, Duffer?
I wouldn't ever have been a proper vocal one. I just always tried to lead by my actions, I guess, when I was a player. Obviously, I have to be vocal now as a coach, but as a player, I guess I used to try and lead by my actions, but I probably wasn't great at leading when I'm having an absolute beast myself. So I probably wasn't a great help.
Right, mate, another couple of managers, Sam Allardyce, Kevin Keegan. You think if anyone could pick Newcastle, it would be Kevin Keegan, but was there just so much going on behind the scenes that it was hard for him?
Well, Kevin, when he first come in, actually got the team playing amazingly well. I think he came in the last 10 games of the season. My first year, second year, I don't know, I had so many of them. And I think he won 8 out of 10 games, just something he was playing a diamond. I wasn't in great form, so I didn't play too much either. And then I think it was the second season where he's obviously wanting to build a team and what have you. And listen, people have their issues with Mike Ashley up there over the years. A lot of people had their run-ins. I think Kevin just had a run-in with him, but inspirational guy and very motivational, and but he just wasn't allowed, I guess, build a team, and that's why he just thought, I'm out here, I'm done.
And last question on this season: how much does Sam Allardyce eat at lunch?
I'd imagine a lot, but that's just from an outsider looking in, because I think he was there 6 months, but I didn't play. I think I played one game for him. I got him the sack, Wigan away. Now I was injured for the first 6 months, and literally his last game I think was Wigan, and I played in that. I think I played an hour, again not too well, and I think he got the sack a couple of days later. So, but yeah, I'd say he's a good appetite.
And Joey Barton was there. What was he like as a teammate? Lively?
Lively, but again, I wouldn't have spent an awful lot of time with Joe, or played an awful lot of time with Joey. He was probably in jail or suspended, and I was probably injured. So,
or hiding under the covers in your house.
Yeah, or hiding under the covers. So we didn't spend too much time. But listen, it's good to see Joey going out now and being a manager. I'm pleased to see that. Good luck to him.
Yeah. Right, mate. Relegation season, how much a mess was it? 4 managers: Keegan, Houghton, Kinnear, and Shearer.
Yeah, it was carnage. I think I ended up playing the last couple of months at left back, which, listen, was no problem. I would have played anywhere. But yeah, it was just so much chopping and changing and squad, and again, the mentality.
Sorry, who the fuck played you left back?
Shearer did. But again, trust me, I was all right at left back. I was good. I wasn't given much going forward as a winger at the time, so it was probably a wise decision. So I didn't mind. But yeah, it was just a poor mentality throughout the club for 3 years that I was there. Alan obviously came in, I think, the last 8 games. I think if Alan surrounded himself with good people and good coaches, and I thought he would have had a proper crack at a managerial career, because he had such, hold in a dressing room, as you can imagine, especially at Newcastle, and just the presence about him. I was thinking, yeah, you could be proper here, but he's just decided to not go down that route.
Just on Kinnear, mate, how old school are we talking with Joe Kinnear?
Yeah, it was. Listen, he was a good guy, Joe. But you talk about Trap getting names wrong. Like, you used to call Charles Insogbia Charles Insomnia. So if a manager's calling your player that, you think we could be in trouble here.
Amazing, man. A lot was made, obviously, Owen and Shearer's comments about each other. Did you ever see a lack of commitment for Owen?
Yeah, listen, Mo, again, a good guy and amazing when he was before his real injury problems, like ridiculous talent. But I just think when he was at Newcastle with me, he just his body couldn't take the load of being a footballer really anymore. So I think something said recently about some injury before the Villa game when he got relegated. Again, I can't really remember or recall that. It might have been a private conversation. I don't know. I was just obsessed with my own performance and what have you. But Mo's body in the end just couldn't take the rigours of day in, day out football. So at Newcastle again, I wouldn't have worked out for him either. Yeah. And I think it was aimed at him a lot. I think if you play somewhere, you should live there. Like he was down in Wales an awful lot with the chopper. But mind you, I benefited a few times. He'd head down to Wales, I'd jump in with him and head across the water and drop me in my man dad's back garden. So you'd be 12 o'clock, finished training in Newcastle, and be having a cup of tea with my ma 2 hours later. So I did benefit from the chopper.
No way. He would drop you in Ireland before going to Wales?
No, he got Wales first. But listen, Mo, that's what I'm saying. He spent an awful lot of time down there. But says the chopper thing, no problem. I jumped on board as well a few times.
When you said you got on Mike Owen's chopper there, I thought it was going to be a different kind of story. Right, mate, I need to speak about it. I know you'll not want to, but does this sum your Newcastle career up? Relegated on the day of Villa, you score an OG. Like, why are you even in a position to score an OG?
Playing left back.
Rest my case. I rest my case.
Yeah, that was horrific. But like I said, the Blackburn one, because it was my club was where I grew up, only 3 relegations. That's probably one where it hit me the worst. But Newcastle went down because they deserved to go down, and for me, it was probably a chance to press the reset button and come up again. But it's not sure how much has changed at that club. So I'm a big believer in kind of positive mindset and what you think and you kind of become. And I was just I ended up, I couldn't help it, always in a negative, mindset up there. This is fucking crap. This is that. So it kind of doesn't shock me that I scored an OG to send Newcastle down, because that's where my head was at. I worked my absolute socks off, but I was just so negative about everything in my own head that it didn't really surprise me. I was like, this was just meant to be me.
What hurts more in football, the relegations or Thierry Henry handballing it against Ireland?
The Irish, the handball, without doubt. That's, you can play for as many teams as you want in your career, and like even Celtic, that would have been amazing working there. But playing for your country, nothing gets any better. So that definitely, I haven't cried on a football pitch. Well, obviously, when I pulled my hammy just before the Liverpool game, but on a competitive game, I think it's the only time I cried in my life. It felt like a death in the family at the time, because it was the World Cup. But listen, again, we should have went through and could have went through. I think it was 1-1 because we obviously scored. We had an away goal. They had an away goal. I had a chance of 1-on-1, which would have took it to 2-1, which would mean they'd need 2. So as much as the handball and all, I think people forget that maybe I had a good chance to put us through as well. Goalkeeper saved it. So
just as well he handballed it then.
Yeah, it took the sting off me, to be fair. It did me a favour.
Did any of the boys ever say anything on you after it?
No, I remember he sat down beside Big Dunny. Dunny wouldn't give much away, and that was more afterwards when you see the pictures the next day. He's kind of sitting down beside Big Richie and trying to plumaz and what have you, which was a bit. Listen, I've said it before. If I did, or if it hit off my hand and we scored, I'd have done the exact same thing. So, absolutely, good luck to him, because I would have done it. I'm sure all the rest of the lads would have done it. It's dog eat dog out there, so. I'd have handled it and crossed it in for Robbie to score, absolutely without doubt.
Right, last week, bit, we're nearly done, just on to Fulham. When you signed for Fulham, did you ever imagine that you'd get to the 2010 Europa League final and doing so well, beating Juventus as well along the way?
No, that probably ties in with the Untitled Cup, like the amount of games you play. But yeah, along the way, I think it was Shakhtar, the game I ran to. Juve, they Cannavaro, Del Piero, Buffon, ridiculous. I think they were, 4-1 up on aggregate or something. We needed 4 goals and we had an hour to do it. So that's Hollywood stuff dreams are made of. But we were a slick team, just really efficient, good, honest pros, good players, but just really, really well drilled from Roy. We all just knew our roles inside out. So it was, and when you look back, it wasn't really a shock because we knew what a good outfit we were.
Is it true Roy Hodgson does shape every day?
Every day, yeah. Every day.
You don't mind that now?
I used to love it because I'm good at, driving it myself. Gaffer would do shape 11 players or 10 players attacking a goalkeeper. He might bring in a couple of defenders then and what have you. But we knew our roles and our movements absolutely inside. But yeah, that's all we did every day. And a few lads would hate it. But, the grass isn't always green. I remember Roy left and other managers came in after. And I remember the likes of Bobby or Danny Murphy or whatever, they'd always be moaning about fucking shape again, this, that, fucking hell. When Roy was gone and after 6 months a year, they were always then asking, I wish we had Roy back. And that's football for you, the grass isn't always greener on the opposite side. So they all missed him because they knew how good he was.
I know exactly who you're talking about. Come on, give us one Felix Magath story.
Felix Magath. Well, the two of the boys, Sasha Reether and I can't remember the other boy's name, played with him at Wolfsburg. So they did a pre-season with him, and they went on a country run, a far, like whatever, 5-10 miles, and he made them run through a car wash. That's one. Another, they come back against Bayern Munich. I think they got spanked, whatever. He brought them out train at 1 o'clock in the morning in the dark. They had shape or a game or something like that. At Fulham, when I was there, again, in a way, I would have liked to experience him, but like he loved me for some reason. Probably because I wasn't playing, but he was just desperate for me to get back fit. I had a bad knee injury. But I remember he locked the lads in the room one day after they got beat, and he just made them watch the game. And he just left, just locked the door, and there you go, watch your game back. Like mad stuff. Brad Hangeland's got a groin strain, and Brad was a top pro, like amazing player, big personality, captain, and obviously desperate to get him back on the pitch. And Felix made him go get and insisted this had to go on him. Guark cheese, I think it's a bit like feta or something. And he had to like put it on his groin and then get like vodka, and so a wrap with vodka, guark cheese, and then wrap it up. So Breda was doing this for a couple of days, and in the end, his missus was like, "You're not allowed into the house here, mate," because he absolutely stank, and it was like seeping through onto his jeans and leaving the stank. So he was making him wrap cheese around his legs. So it was like fucking not normal stuff.
How's he done so well, man? Like that?
People are scared of him. Like,
how's he scared?
Like I didn't say it because he was relatively calm when he was with us, but like I said, the stories, the two lads, Sasha and the other boy, were scared when he got announced and he was coming in like in 2-3 days. Like Sasha was shitting himself.
Was
literally,
he?
yeah. So I didn't see that side of him why you'd be scared, but seeing me was a mental job. Yeah,
amazing. Like last week bit on Fulham, but got to, as I say, the Europa League final up against Atletico Madrid, Aguero, Forlan, Reyes, Samao. How do you look back on that game? Were they tremendous?
Yeah, we didn't. I don't think we played particularly well. I remember I pulled Shaka. You got injured again. I remember I pulled my calf the week beforehand, 7 days beforehand, and I remember I spent the week in the oxygen tank thinking I'm getting fit for this. So I think I trained for half an hour before the night before at the ground, but like didn't even train that hard. So it's kind of the first time I realised that, you know, if you want to be in good condition for a match day, you actually have to train. Because I was dragging a caravan, like heavy touches, like awful stuff. I'd be embarrassed by that a bit. Some of the stuff I did in that game, like it was nothing to do with the final. I was thinking, yeah, absolutely no problem. Final, looking forward to it, but just felt terrific. Played so bad. So us as a team, I wouldn't say we really delivered. But then, yeah, when you look through the names, big names, aren't they? But they only nicked the goal, I think, in the last minute extra time. So, and needless to say, being an Irishman, if you celebrate and you get drunk, if you're drowning your sorrows, you get drunk. So I went out in Hamburg that night and got smashed.
Who were? All the boys?
No, I think we drank in the hotel till 3 or 4 in the morning, and I decided to go out then at 3-4 in the morning, not to a stand-up comedy club, just bars and just in my tracksuit, just with one of the analysts.
What a man!
You have to drown your sorrows.
Of course you're doing it. Right, we'll jump forward to Celtic. I always wondered this. How did you see the Celtic job come up? What is it like? A website or something? Does somebody contact you when you're a coach?
Yeah, no, job seekers or something. No, I think a few people. I just got a few calls just going, Celtic would like to talk to you about the reserve team role, and all. I was like, what do they want me for? And I had a couple of these over a month, and then it was kind of more concrete. There was like, Peter Lowell wants to speak to you. So I rang Peter, and then obviously spoke to Chris McCarthy, and kind of just got out of hand then, because I was just planning on living in Ireland. He goes, would you want to come over? I thought the job was mine, being a bit stupid. So Chris was like, yeah, come over. And I was thinking, okay, come over and have a look around the place and, you know, see if you want the job. But then he rings me back an hour later and goes, right, the interview will start at 2 o'clock. You have to do a presentation, then a practical on the pitch and all. And I was thinking, oh, it's actually not your job. So I thought, okay, well, kind of the ego then took over. I was like, well, right, I'm going to go and get this job now, get offered it anyway, and if anything, it'll be good experience. So I went over, and I'm like the most nerve-wracking, out of your comfort zone stuff I've ever done, you know, present a general chat for an hour and then presenting to Brendan Rodgers and John Kennedy and all the staff. You know, I played 3-box-3 here with my 15-year-old, so I was presenting to Brendan how to play 3-box-3, like mortified, like he knows better than anyone. And I'm telling him, you know,
he invented the 3-box-3, mate, didn't he?
Yeah, and I've got me footage, and I'm like, you know, if he goes there, he should go here. And I'm just thinking, just shut up, man. And then I had to go out on the pitch like for 40 minutes with the reserves, who were like a miserable group. They're at an age where they're like, I'm not in the first team, and I'm getting dragged in here 4:00 in the afternoon to get coached by this muppet from Ireland. So like, it was just the hardest thing I've ever done, without doubt. And but listen, fortunately, I got offered the job.
Is that, see, when you said that, is that more nerve-wracking than playing like a Europa final?
Without doubt. Like, football was just natural to me. So yeah, you get the butterflies, a bit of tension, but like goods. Whereas this, I was just absolutely rattled. Like, I couldn't take my blazer off in the big sweat patches there, I'd imagine. It was just soaked wet through. Rattled. Disgusting.
Yeah. And you said that, like, you took the reserve team at first and you said they're a miserable group. Did you find it frustrating taking boys at that age?
No, like, the quality is obviously there, but they're 18, 19 years of age, and it's a difficult one. They're probably think they should be over the road with the first team, but they haven't done it yet. So then there's maybe a bit of attitude seeps in, and maybe a lack of hunger or enthusiasm. Well, that's not Celtic boys. I think that's that age in general. Just that drive. But I think, listen, that's across the board in football now. 18, 19-year-olds in football that have made the first team, that have been given good contracts, and they're playing at big clubs, and they think they're someone they're not. I hate saying it, but it's the God's honest truth. Yeah. So, listen, even when I went in with them, I told them, I said, you're the most miserable group. I think it was Ayr away. What's the one up beside that fishing village? Arbroath, is it Ayr? Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, I remember telling them that day, I was like, lads, you're the most miserable set of lads I've ever come across in my life. But listen, after the 6-8 weeks that I was there with them, we did build I think a nice bond, and they knew more about me and I understand them a bit more. But I would have loved them to work along with them in a way, just to see, I guess, what you can get out of them.
See, just on, obviously you moved over to Ireland, how much did it help that your son Darryl Horgan was over playing for Hibs as well?
My twin, yeah. Yeah, that's been aimed at me a few times.
By the way, you never got his dad's touch, you took his mum's touch, Aaron.
Yeah. I'm not sure whether I'm the ugly version of Darryl or what, but yeah, he's a good looking lad. Yeah, don't worry, the lads give me plenty about that.
I know.
Plenty.
See, when Brendan Rodgers left, did you think there's a chance, when Lenny came in, did you think there's a chance of me when Chris Davis goes, obviously, did you ever think they could ask me to go and do the first team?
Not one bit. I honestly, to God, like, I know probably a normal coach would have done that thing, or they laying for or ask for the job, right? And I didn't bat an eyelid. I was just pottering along doing my job. I think I was playing Killy that day away on the Astro, and just got a phone call after the game from John Kennedy. So I don't think Gaffer was even announced yet. So listen, I love the Gaffer to bits. I love Jay to bits, but it was Jay, I think, in effect, I could be wrong, that brought me into the first team setup, because Neil wasn't announced. Obviously, John stayed, and he rang me after the game. He goes, will you come in with us? So listen, absolutely, again, similar to my interview, rattled out of the comfort zone. I was like, fucking didn't tell him that, like, I'm not ready for this, but you can't turn it down, like, so you just have to go and learn on your feet, don't you? So
did you know,
obviously,
did you know Lenny before that, Duffer?
Did I know who?
Lenny.
No, I met him about 15 years ago or something. I met him down the West End. I think I had a game of golf with him next day, Lamps, down in Loch Lomond or something. So I'd had a night out with him, but I don't know what I'd said to him. So I could have abused him at, I don't know. Well, I had a game of golf with him as well, but listen, I was drunk on that as well. And apologies, I'm sounding like I'm drunk all the time. I actually wasn't. I was a good pro.
No, I've heard that. How did you find that, going and taking a first team session for the first time?
Listen, just rattled. You know, I feel like I'm learning the game all over again now. You do your own thing as a player, and you're so focused and all, but you just, you know, a different viewpoint now. And even I remember my first coaching license, you know, I got given a session on wingers, and I like to think I'm able to play as a winger when I played and understand the role and all, but I couldn't coach them. I couldn't tell the winger where to run, how to run, when to run. I was the worst coach on my B licence. So I just realised then you need to, take a step back and just kind of dissect the game. And that's what I guess do daily. So I was a half decent player, did okay, but I just feel like I'm learning it all over again. So when you go in with the first team, listen, I think it helps that I played, you get a bit of respect with the lads. I ended up building an amazing bond with them. They were amazing with me and I had great fun with them. I like to think it was fair when it needed to be, but had the crack with them. But yeah, when it comes down to, the sessions and what have you, I was always conscious of, again, being a young coach, I didn't want to say something stupid and then go, who's this guy? So I'd always kind of overanalyze and probably end up not saying that at all, if you know what I mean. Because I was just really conscious of, especially when you're working beside John, listen, Gaffer takes a step back and manages match day, whereas John Kennedy and Woodsy, obviously Woodsy with a goalkeeper, but John Kennedy's without doubt one of the best coaches in the world.
I've heard he's brilliant.
I sound like his agent now, but I don't think clubs outside realise how good he is, because absolutely frightening. The best I've worked with.
Can I just ask, why is he so good? So what makes him such a good coach?
Again, it comes down to, your detail. His detail is second to none. Like, I haven't seen detail like it. And obviously dissecting what you see, like some coaches can be like Ray Charles, looking at a game but actually not seeing what's going on in the game, whereas John doesn't miss a trick. What's the problem? How are we going to fix it? Absolutely frightening. And like I said, they'd be lost without him and the Gaffer. The Gaffer's the best manager around up there, so lucky to have him. And like I said, John as well. Obviously, because I worked a lot with John and spent a lot of time late into the night watching games and stuff. So I guess I would have built a nice bond with him as well. But listen, I sound like his agent. The clubs are going to be chasing now, but he's, like I said, he's top class.
Brilliant. See that just on that first game at Tynecastle, did you get that wee buzz back that you maybe had as a player that you hadn't had for so many years?
Kind of, like when I was with the 15s or even the resis, like Celtic resis, like every game to me was like a cup final, so I was always kind of up for it. But yeah, having that crowd back, and listen, I don't think there's many better feelings in life than last minute winners. And on that run in, I think we had about 3 or 4 of them, like mad stuff. I think I straddled John Dundee away. I think we scored in the 95th minute. Tynecastle that first night, I think I nearly knocked Johnny Hayes out. So I do get a bit carried away. So that was a nice experience. I won't lie to you, just lastminute.com doesn't get any better.
So you're the man responsible for giving Johnny Hayes that red nose?
I think he's had that since he was fucking, I don't know what, but yeah, listen, Johnny, sad to see him go, great guy. Yeah, he got a little sucker punch that night.
Mate, and what a special time to be at the club with the history being achieved as well. Like, do you feel honoured to be part of that?
It's like, I can't say I offered much. All I'd say is I assisted. I filled the role. Gaffer was there, amazing. Jay, amazing. And the players, listen, they're the best squad in Scotland, aren't they? World-class players. But to be in the dressing room and going to games and, meetings and what have you, yeah, absolutely. Getting the 8 and the 9, a lot of pressure on them. I probably felt more pressure on the run-in with the 8. I don't know, what was there, 8 games to go, was there? I probably felt more pressure then. I was thinking you could be part of the biggest capitulation known to man here. So that kind of worried me a bit, whereas 9, you get the full season at it, you can kind of relax. So yeah, still pressurised, but I have to say, like, I had such a great laugh the whole 18 months, 2 years with them. I know everyone thinks we did work hard, but like great fun it was.
Yeah. And see, just finally on that, who impressed you players wise? You said top players there. Who was, maybe give us 2 or 3 that really impressed you? I
would have loved to see KT in his pomp fit, but like I didn't see that. The 8 games I was there, he was injured. Like working through the team, I think Frimpong got Player of the Year. Like amazing character, amazing just the impact he had for such a young boy. Fraser coming in. Say no more about the big man. Yeah. Azur's a Rolls Royce. Absolutely love him to pieces. McGregor's world class. I tell him this all the time. He could play in Barcelona. Absolutely taking information. Just again, the king of just simplicity and making the right decisions. World class. Brownie's been world class for years. Jimmy on the right, his stats are absolutely ridiculous. Far side, Mikey. Like if Mikey stays fit, my God, what a winger you have there. And then up top, Hodgson. again, what a class act. And like even the Griffalo, you know, it doesn't probably look the fittest at times, but he's possibly the best finisher I've ever seen. That slap, you know, everyone coaches side foot finish. He just slaps it with his laces, and absolutely ridiculous. So, and the lads I haven't mentioned, like, just ridiculous amount of quality in the squad.
Brilliant. Right, mate, 2 Prem titles, 100 international caps, World Cups, Euros, European finals, worked for Celtic. How do you look back on it all? Tremendous.
Yeah, it was a bit of crack. I don't know what to say. I'm not one to just sit at home, you know, reminiscing. Football is all I know. I'm institutionalized. You know, when I retired for 6 months, a year is probably a bit scary because you miss the 24/7 focus, and you can see why footballers, you know, get into problems. So going back to Celtic again, give me that focus, the 24/7. It's amazing. And out of my sporting career, like I've said it in the media recently, that would probably be the highlight. I loved being a player, but then 18 months with the first team, like I said, amazing fun, but just learning everything, and just what an experience. It was incredible. So I'd have to put Celtic at the top of the list, I'm afraid.
Oh, you know you've done well when you're wearing a hoopla during the day. Absolutely tremendous, mate. I noticed that.
I know that got a bit of stick off the lads. That's my training ground. Watch a little electronic one. They got slaughtered for that as well.
Hey, sorry, you wear a hoopla training ground?
It's the electric one, you know, the chargeable, whatever you call it. But don't worry, that got slaughtered as well. Jay and Brownie and all. So, along with getting my hair cut in the Turkish barber all the time. I think I was just, I was probably good for the squad, so they could hammer me for 18 months. I was probably good for that.
Tremendous. Damien, thanks very much, mate. What a guy.
Top man, Simon. All the best.
Hero.
Cheers. God bless.